Welcome to the Common Sense Investing, or CSI show, with Victor McClure and Guy Allard from McClure Capital Wealth Management Companies. Victor and Guy will use their combined 60-plus years of experience to answer your financial questions with their own brand of plain-spoken language and hard-hitting style.
Welcome to the Common Sense Investing Show. I'm Victor McClure.
And I'm Guy Allard. Glad to have you.
For those of you new to the show, how long have we been doing this show? 20-something years or whatever?
Long time.
Long time. Guy and I both have over 30 years experience being financial advisors. Even though they didn't call them financial advisors 30 years ago when we started this stuff. They called them stockbrokers and commodity brokers.
And make no mistake, someone that's just starting out of school, they have all the book knowledge. They've had some good training with the large wirehouse, right? They put them in the mind vice and they set them free to help the world. They always, you'd like to think they always have your best intentions in mind and put you first, and fiduciaries if you're a registered investment advisor and all of that good stuff, but they just haven't seen everything. They haven't seen the market's ups and downs. They've read about them, but they haven't witnessed them. And what happens is the mistakes they make may cost them a little income, but it costs you a lot of money. So this is a way to shortcut some of those mistakes. There's very few shortcuts in life, but using someone experienced is one big shortcut for you.
Oh, a friend of mine's in this business. He said, okay, Victor, what if we were going up against each other? Like a client was interviewing you and interviewing me.
Right. Is this an experienced guy or?
Not really. He's a little younger.
All right.
I said, that guy's a really good guy. You're talking to two really good people, honest guy.
Yeah.
I'd have no issue with him. The only problem he's learning on your money.
Yes. Well, that's what's the truth.
And he goes, oh, you wouldn't say that, would you? I go, it's the truth. I go, not that you don't have all the best intentions in the world, but if you haven't seen high interest rates, low interest rates, good market, bad market, and everything in between, giving advice at this point is kind of taking a flyer. And I don't like doing flyers with people's retirement savings. Don't get me wrong. We started in this business. We were in our 20s.
Yeah.
And so we had the same thing. We were going against the old timers at that time, and that's just the way it is.
And Victor and I both together work for some of the top money managers in the world. One fellow was ranked number 7 by Nielsen's, did a great job. Another fellow, which you've heard us talk about on the show, was for managed commodities. High net worth, was ranked number 1 in the world for 5 or 6 years. And it's just as intoxicating for us as an advisor to run across and you look at the credentials and, wow, this guy may have it figured out. And then when you're younger, you really believe this guy may have it figured out. And that comes across in your enthusiasm when you talk to your clients. But what happens over time, even though you've got the book knowledge, right, you kind of forget that. Again, it's intoxicating. It's great track record. Wow, this guy's doing good, until the market shows them something that it hasn't shown before. So now what do you do with experience? Well, you put enough money in there that's the right amount, right? The right blend for your portfolio, where if it does well, it makes a difference. And if it has peaks and valleys, it's only a small amount so that you can fade it. Anyway, there's things you learn, and it's less intoxicating for the advisor the longer he's in the business.
Well, that's the reason why most big firms, when they're hiring new advisors, it's always young advisors, because they can mold them.
Sure.
And they get that excitement out of them. The older guys, jaded like us, we're like, I don't believe anything.
I've seen that before, yeah. Prove it to me.
Oh, every time somebody brings me another oil and gas deal, you don't understand, if this thing hits 1/10 of what the geologist says, you'll be a billionaire.
And look at all the wells around it.
Yeah, everybody's billionaires around it. I'm like, yeah, whatever.
Depletion allowance, you got
I know from experience, 99% of them fail.
That's right.
And
Too many conflicts of interest in the prospectus.
I know from experience, 99% of all the private offerings fail. Not because they might not be in a good real estate project or good oil and gas. They just charge too much. There's no rules. It's like the Old West. When you have no rules, it's too easy for some promoter to charge too much for a lot of things.
Can I change gears a little bit on you?
Sure.
I was watching a large money manager doing one of his commercials just earlier this week, and he'll go nameless. But I wanted to mention it on the show next time it came up. It's a great sales pitch, and it's what it is. And what I mean by that, it's a half-truth. These guys make money on a percentage of what they manage. Money under management was the big
Just
thing
like we do with stocks.
for years. Yeah, same thing. And the pitch and the spiel and the half truth is this: we grow when you grow. Now that's a half truth. Why is it a half truth? Because they make money when you're losing money. They don't mention that, but it sounds like they only make money when you do, right? But what they say is, we only grow when you grow. Well, that's true. It's a truth, but it's not. It's indicating that they only make money when you do. They make money when you don't, but it sounds better. So just know when you're getting a percentage on the assets at all times, they're always making money.
We're just always, like I said, I'm a math guy. It's always math to me. And it's always surprising how people spin stuff. But if you listen to Fox or CNN or anything like that, you can see the spin is, you can put the statistics any way you want to go, right? But the truth is, we are fee-based money managers, all right? But we do some things from commission as well. But people don't realize fee-based costs the customer
A lot more money.
5-10 times more over time than the commission-based. And so when you really put it there, you make a choice which one you want, because sometimes commission-based, believe it or not, is a lot cheaper than fee-based. It's a lot cheaper. So that's what you have to do. I'll give you an example. Let's say you were going to buy something like an old mutual fund. They used to have the 5% load, right? Still a lot of them do. So you pay 5%. The other one charges you 1% a year on a growing asset. Which one pays more?
No.
Well, if it didn't make anything, they'd be the same in 5 years, right?
Right.
More to the guy that got it up front. But if it makes anything, obviously that brings down the years where it's even. But every year after that until you die, it's higher. So then again, you got to look at, all right, is it a passive or active kind of investing? Because if they're just setting it up and leaving it, you're better off paying commission. Be done with it. Now, if they're going to actively trade it, then you make a decision whether it's worth it or not, or how often they are, how involved they are, things like that. I do believe, but in the general terms, fee-based, if they make the same no matter what, like we do,
right,
like most of the money managers, it is a more fair approach. But that's not the whole story.
No,
the whole story is the fees you'll pay more over time with that, even though you're getting a more fair approach.
And I just wanted to make clear, and hopefully I did a good job, when you hear them say, we only grow when you do, is a lot different than we only make money when you do, which is kind of what they're intimating when they say it. One of the reasons that we've kind of gravitated to fixed annuities for the fixed part of our clients' portfolios, one, it pays the most right now, but two, they pay us a commission, but they pay us a commission. If you invest $1 million, you have $1 million going to work day one. It's not $950,000 because the commission came out of your money. Okay. So as long as it's planned properly, as long as it's appropriate for what you're trying to achieve, same thing goes for our managed accounts. As long as it's appropriate for what you need to do and reaching your retirement goals, then that's what we use.
Yeah. You just got to always keep everything in perspective. Everybody gets paid for services, period.
Yep.
Anybody tells you they don't, which I hear this all the time. A customer said, well, my broker said he likes that similar thing, but he's not going to charge me any commission. I go, there's no commission on that thing. You don't have to pay anything no matter what it is. They're just trying to tell you, like, do you think they're not making anything? Well, he said he wasn't making anything. I go, does that really make sense?
Yeah.
That somebody would have a career where they do a service and make nothing. It's not even logical. Anybody that says that, not even don't listen to them anymore. Run out of their office because they're probably a crook because they're trying to mislead you on something as fundamental as, are you paid or not for your service?
Right. And
you're obviously paid. We're not running a charity or anything like that. Everybody knows that stuff. So let's talk this week about. Now, this is similar to last week, so I'll just let you know that it's different. This is 18 scary retirement statistics. Last week, we had 17 unexpected expenses in retirement, so there is a difference, okay? Number one, this is the interesting thing. How many people have come to us over the years, Guy, and said, I'm not living past 80 or 75. Nobody in my family's ever lived there.
I think the number is 951.
So... And I say, well, okay, but what if we made that plan? We can absolutely do that for you. I can have you running out of money on the day you want to. But what if you live one more day? Then you still have your Social Security, right? But everything else is gone. I said, I don't know what would be worse. Planning for a short life and having a long one seems like the worst thing to me. or planning for a long life and having a short life. I think that's better.
We always talk about the hardest two things to plan on. One is life, because there's lots of unexpected things that come up, and the other is what? Medical expenses.
Well, here's the first of the 18 scary retirement statistics.
Did I cover 2 of them already?
Oh, about 10 of them. No. People could routinely live past 100.
Holy cow.
That is a starting thing. Some of them say up to 120.
That must be old Russians drinking vodka.
Yeah. No, they actually have the
Vodka.
lowest, earliest mortality rate of anybody. I think. Russia
Really?
does.
Whenever you see someone that's like
Alcohol
110, 115, it's some vodka drinking Russian. No?
No.
Okay.
They actually have one of the earliest.
Because of the
about
hard
earliest. I guess
winters
it's
and
heart
weather and
disease. I don't
such?
know what it is. I have no idea, but it's interesting. But they say most people they interviewed said they don't want to. Nobody
that
wants to
long.
live that long.
Right.
But I think that's predicated on they see people at 90 years old now and how healthy they are, unhealthy, whatever, and they say, no, I don't know if I want to do that. Or they go to a nursing home with their parents or grandparents, and they see what's in there. But if medical science gets increasing our age, that means when we're 80, we're more like a 60-year-old.
Yep.
So maybe I would want to live to 120, 140. I don't know.
As long as the quality of life is there.
And people always say that. They're going, well, there's no way. I go, sure, there's a way. I go, think about what computers have gone. My son was asking, one of my kids was asking me the other day, what kind of, computer do you have? They didn't have computers.
95.
I was in the 5th grade, I think, 6th grade when it came out with calculators. TI came out with the first one. $700. It added and subtracted.
Before that was a slide rule, if you remember.
Yeah. So I said, take that 30 or 40 years, right? And then remember, with the computer age, technology has gone up exponentially.
Absolutely.
I mean, crazy amount, exponentially. So add another 30, 40 years when you and I are going to be in their 80s or 90s, right? So it absolutely is logical that it could be 100 as the average age instead of 85 or whatever.
I got
110.
Sidetrack you again a little bit. I got to tell you what my fear is a little bit. You look at some of the older people now, 80s and 90s, with computers coming so late in their life, and some of them refuse to even try the technology, right? Especially with the phones and the texting. I came slow to texting. It was, 4 or 5 years into it before I started doing it. And then the computer, actually working on the computer and emailing and all that stuff, it's just hard for them to grasp. Think about that growth, and in 30 years, the stuff that we're going to have to learn that we just have no idea. It's a lot.
My dad had a 30-year-old fax machine. And I kept saying, hey, you need to get an email address. He goes, that email address is a dang fad. Don't give me no email. Just send me a fax.
5 years ago or so.
I think it was one of the ones that still heated the paper, it came out in the roll. I was like, are you kidding me? He goes, that's all you need to do business. Now, you'd think that was 40 years ago. That was probably about 10 years ago. So
you can go back 50 years ago to grade school, and they had that old purple mimeograph machine. Remember, that's how they made copies.
It still shocks
People don't
me
even know what that is nowadays.
So many doctors still use fax.
Just hard
Most of
regular fax?
Yeah, they still use regular fax. So longevity is the scary statistic. If you're prepared, living a long time is not a big deal. If you're not prepared, it is a huge deal.
And we've added another one. Changing technology is a scary statistic for us all.
It's getting more like when I was a kid and I saw the Star Trek. You'd pull up that deal, and I'm like, look, there's a TV. He could see that guy's face on that. Look at that hand phone.
The communicator.
Little phone. They can do anything on that thing, right? Now that's exactly what we have in phones.
Beat me up, Scotty.
Now, who'd have thought you got a camera, you got the internet, and it can answer any question. All that stuff on your phone. It's crazy. All right. Number 2, women are more financially fragile than they used to be. Now, let me phrase that for what it says. Not that women are more fragile emotionally or anything else. It's saying because of...
And they deserve the same pay.
Absolutely. It's because of educational debt people are carrying that 30 years ago, 50-year-old women did not carry. It's talking about higher levels of regular debt, mortgages.
And that makes them more fragile?
It says financially fragile.
Okay.
And also divorce, widowhood. Those things are more prevalent now, and so it's caused
so you're
women
saying
to
they
be
don't
less
do
financially secure over the last
You're saying they don't do as well once their husband's gone.
I did not say that. That's
sounded
what you
like
said.
Widowed?
Look, I think you need your counseling. I would never say
Just
such a
checking. I want to make sure we're politically correct.
I'll get hit with a hammer when I walk in the door of my house.
That's right.
See, women in their 50s are more likely to have mortgages of over 50% of the value of their homes, and it's higher than it's ever been. And like I said, a lot of it is divorce, widows, becoming a widow, things like that. But number 3, Social Security is not keeping up with the real cost of living expenses. Remember a few years ago, folks, they were raising Social Security, with the Consumer Price Index or whatever. But they're saying, this is going up a little too high. Let's take out energy, because remember oil was going up a lot and gas. Let's take that part out. That's ridiculous.
Oh, yeah, the CPI.
So they
Price
took that
Index.
out.
Yeah.
Like, remember we had, in 5 years, 2 or 3 of the years, there were no gains. Last year is a 0.3. They just announced a 3, right? Or 2 for 2018. That's all we've got in years.
Didn't they take meat out and put chicken in, too? I mean,
they
just
took
silly
all
stuff.
kinds of crap. So, the government, they're not going to take away Social Security. Look what they're trying to do, taking away Obamacare. I looked up Obamacare for a client. $2,000 a month for an HMO, because there are no PPOs in Texas.
Yeah.
Only one provider. So we have one provider for a couple in their 50s that want to retire early. $2,000 a month for a crappy HMO.
I'm sitting here listening to
Crazy.
you go through those lists, and it's kind of dawns on me, and I'll share it. The one thing that all of us can do that really solves maybe 90% of these things we're talking about and going to talk about today, and that is to live within your means. If you don't overlive what you have, and I mean way under your means, then money isn't a problem. It's easier on the marriage. The mortgage isn't there, but it's a smaller house. It's not the big place, but it makes life easier. And you have to remember, it's a cost problem. It's not a cash flow problem. You got to keep the costs down.
Nearly 2/3 of people in Generation X, here's the next thing. We're baby boomers, right? But we're going to be done for the normal retirement stuff in the next, 10 years or so.
Right.
But Generation Xers are next. Then you got, there's another one, Y, and
We went
then
through
you
the
go
whole thing,
through
yeah.
millennials or whatever after
Look
that.
them up.
But 63% of them are kept awake at night thinking about financing their retirement. 1 in 3 are not earning enough money to be able to invest in the future, and they put it in the 401ks or whatever. And that's by American Funds. Just did that one. It's a weird thing. If you look at these studies, baby boomers a little worried, Gen Xers real worried. Then you get out of millennials, they're not worried at all, and they're the least equipped.
You know why? You know why? Because they're living at home. They don't have those expenses. Like I said, you keep the expenses down, you can contribute to your 401k.
Right.
They've got it
It's
figured
like
out.
70% of millennials still receive money or live with their parents. 70%. It's pretty strong.
I'm working with a client right now who has a wonderful son, and their 2 kids are going to private school, and they can't afford it.
Oh, yeah.
So the parents chip in.
I have an idea. Go to public school, but that's my thing.
Apparently that doesn't work. It did for us.
No. Here's the next one. 5, caregivers are facing a retirement process. You got a lot of this called sandwich generation. They're still taking care of kids, and they have to take care of parents. I'm one of those that have done that forever, taking care of little kids, big kids, grown kids too, and parents and grandparents. And so what those are doing, it's like 82% of them are concerned there's no way they can have financial resources to last their disabled person's lifetime. Because a lot of times it's one of their children or whatever, or grandchildren, and they're really worried about that. 9 in 10 caregivers are concerned their special needs, or what will happen to their special needs child or whatever if they pass away.
Right.
59% have not taken a single step to prepare a will or anything else. They don't know what to do. 60% with life insurance have less than $300,000 in coverage, and fewer than half the protection whole life coverage. Lifetime cost of caring for a dependent with autism is $1.4 to $2.4 million.
Yeah, that's crazy.
23% have a form of, these are caregivers, anybody that's caring for someone else when you're supposed to be at the peak earning years, to save for your own retirement. 23% have a formal plan. 37% work with a financial. Only 16% of caregivers strongly believe that they are financially secure. 70% have said they have to compromise their own retirement needs for their special needs dependent. 77% say they won't be able to retire. 80% are concerned they won't be able to maintain a comfortable lifestyle in retirement. And what are you going to do? There's not a lot you can do with that, except you need to plan even more.
Yeah.
You know, there's certain things that you can, believe it or not, you can get help for certain things. You know, I thought it was when I had my mother in a nursing home paying $6,000 a month when I was a younger guy. That was a big strain. And, you know, there are resources you can get to, you know, because now I still take care of mother-in-law and a lot of other ones now. Here's another scary retirement statistic. Retirees need $130,000 each to cover health care costs. And that's the problem. They got
Is that over and above Medicare and Medicaid and all that?
Yes, $130,000. Fidelity came out with a study, and it said women will spend about $135,000 on health care throughout their lifetime. Men will spend about $125,000. Do you know the difference, Guy? Why do women spend more than men?
I'm afraid to say because it may not be politically correct.
I'm afraid what you're going to say now. He said that. It's because women live longer.
Oh, I was leaning towards something cosmetic. I'm sorry.
I don't know where you were going with that.
I was going somewhere cosmetic.
I should have just let you go out there. Stand out on the ledge. But no, because they live longer, so they got to go to the
That's
doctor.
what I was thinking. Exactly. That was what I was going to say.
Remember, all of this stuff, a lot of this stuff can be taken care of if you do a proper retirement plan.
Yeah.
If you're 10 or 15 years to retirement or in retirement, if you don't have a written plan, now 90% of the stuff you get from the wirehouse is not a written retirement plan. It's a bunch of BS.
It supports what they're.
That's right. It says, no, you got to stay here. Don't go anywhere else. You don't need this. You don't need that. Just stay with it. But they're telling you for the rest of your life you have to make 10% a year on stocks.
When you meet with these guys, you want to have options. You don't want to just have a single narrow path. You want them to give you many options. Right. That way you can be part of the decision-making process.
And all of these different retirement statistics, if you're caring for someone, if you haven't saved enough, if you need more income per dollar, that's what we address here. So don't hesitate to call us. We'd be more than happy to do a complimentary retirement plan for you. 972-715-2424. Again, 972-715-2424. You can always go to ilovemyretirement.com. If you have any financial questions, I get this all the time. I got a bunch of questions this week about how to style an IRA, how to properly style one. This company was trying to make themselves the owner of an individual IRA. I go, no, do not let them do that. There's only a couple companies that ever tried to do it. You are on an IRA, you are the owner. You are the annuitant if it's an annuitant, but you're always the owner because you don't want to have to ask somebody's permission to touch your own money.
That's right.
But they do that on purpose. It makes it much more difficult for you to get your own money. So you got to be careful in how you style accounts. Plus, when you're rolling over or changing characteristic from a defined benefit to an IRA, something like that, you got to make sure you do it right or you don't have tax problems later. All right.
Good point.
The next one is health care. We just talked about the $130,000 in health care. 69% of baby boomers, that's back to us now, right? Yep. They're concerned. 41% of those are very concerned. Health care is the kind of the elephant in the room. You got to really, really be careful of health care. Because, like I said, if you're before 65 in Dallas, you're talking about, for a couple, $2,000 a month. Now, you can get a really, really crappy HMO, but it was still $1,500 a month, something like that. That's not chump change. So that's a lot of money. You better budget that in. I just did some retirement plans for people retiring early. I budgeted that in. I budgeted Cobra in, staying with their old one for 18 months. Then we budgeted a Medicare supplement because you're going to need that.
And Obamacare was subsidized.
Oh, yeah. The reason why people are buying these even $2,000 plans because you make $40,000, they're going to give you $1,800 of it back from Obamacare. But we know by listening to politics now, they're probably getting rid of that.
Yeah.
And so they're going to be left with something that costs a lot. All right. That's another thing about healthcare. Many retirees are one healthcare crisis away from financial collapse. If you have to take $15,000 or more out of your savings to pay for a health incident, it wrecks 90% of America. It makes them financial collapse. 80% of Americans thinks that there's a 50-50 chance that will happen to them. So you have to plan for these things. There's so many people, grandparents paying for kids, grandkids, and our kids going through college. They're sacrificing their own retirement for the kids' education, which I understand that's a noble thing. But you can get a loan for college. Try to get a loan for your own retirement.
Well, and really listen to those words because we all love our kids and the grandchildren, and They mean so much to us. But I'm telling you from a personal experience, I've seen many, and especially widows, but even couples that had a decent amount left in savings as they were getting older, and granddaughter's wedding, and the grandson needs a car, and the school, and all good things. But all of a sudden, grandma or grandpa or both are broke. And like Victor said, you can't get a loan for that.
No.
There's nothing you can do. There's nowhere you can go to. Your parents aren't around. And the kids, they really don't appreciate it, I don't think, as much as they should.
Well,
That sound like an old man now?
getting a loan from grandma is more than loaning grandma money. I don't know if I think they'd be a little more reluctant to loan you money.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Try to ask for a loan.
It said people are very often regret not delaying Social Security. It's almost one thing. There's a financial thing that happened. They had to start getting some income. It's a bird in the hand syndrome. In other words, they go, I've done the numbers, and I've had to be 78 years old to break even.
Yeah,
right?
I hear it all the time.
15 years, almost 16 years. I go, that's stupid. There's no way.
I'm not going to live that long.
I'm not going to live that long. There's no way it's going to be more, but that is without cost of living adjustments. When you add that back in, that backs it off several years. And life expectancies are going up almost every year.
And each year you wait is an 8% raise until age 70. It's hard to get 8% guaranteed on your money.
Right. Even though I'll do plans like it, I always suggest waiting on those income things till you're a little older because the things, but you can take them. You just got to plan it properly. I just did another plan for the people retiring early, and we reran the Social Security at 62. Still worked perfectly because there's two things with retirement. There's a psychological aspect and the financial aspect, the numbers to the thing.
Sure.
And so something that might be mathematically better doesn't mean they're going to do it. So you have to do also when you're planning, you have to know your client. Are they one of the people who said, I'm not taking it past 62, trust me. Well, then you got to plan that way and make other arrangements to make sure that works for them.
You have to give them options.
That's right. Half of Americans are afraid they will outlive their money. That's 50%. It should be about 90%.
I would think.
Most people don't have any.
I would think it was higher than that.
Oh, yeah. There's all kinds. There's only about 20-something% of people feel confident in retirement. But even those are worried about health.
Are our clients, I'm just saying.
And you'd be surprised, people with many millions of dollars are worried about health care.
Yes.
Worried about long-term care.
They're way,
and then you got people that know money is not worried about it at all. So I'm like, I don't know.
It doesn't
There's a
make
disconnect
sense
here.
That's right.
All right. Even your boss, the employers are worried about your retirement. All of this stuff that we have, this retirement crisis, is from a combination of factors. Very low interest rates means you can't live off your savings very much. The loss of pension plans.
Safely.
Yeah. The loss of pension plans. Remember Social Security came out starting at 65 or whatever? That was the average life expectancy when it came out. So they didn't expect to pay long.
It'd be like starting at 85 now.
Right.
You're working to 85.
That's right. We're going to start Social Security at 85 would be exact.
You'd be fine.
What? That's exactly what they did. So loss of pensions, Social Security, the longevity and low interest rates have really just, so the onus is on you. The problem is most people have not maxed out 401ks. Most people are living check to check, and that's just the way it is. But they're going to be ill-equipped, and everybody wants to work longer, The majority of people have less than $1,000 in savings.
That's scary.
62% have less than $1,000 in savings.
I heard the average that they had saved in retirement accounts was around $300,000. Must be a different table.
Well, a lot of them don't have retirement accounts.
Right.
So they're going to kick that out.
Oh, so that's right.
Yeah,
so
when you start adding it all together.
Got it.
Oh, that's what, I always tell people the other side. You're going right wing, left wing. I go, well, 60% of people don't pay any federal tax. I'm already paying most of it. So
that's right.
Shouldn't I get 2 votes? All right. Oh, well, that's our show, folks. I want to thank everybody for listening today. We'll finish this topic. Only got a couple left till next week. Our number is 972-715-2424. Again, 972-715-2424. Or you can always go to our website, ilovemyretirement.com. I'm Victor McClure. For Guy Allard, we always, always appreciate your time.
The preceding show is paid for by McClure Capital and is for informational purposes only and not a solicitation or representation of any particular investment product or service. Any views and opinions do not constitute financial, legal, or tax advice. Consult with your appropriate professionals before making any investment or savings decisions. Always consider your risk tolerance, time horizon, and objectives in making any financial decisions. There is never any guarantee of future success or performance.